it did tie a lot together. Thank you again so much. Mr. Williams, you are next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thanks to the staff for putting together the budget and the work. Thanks to you, Madam Mayor, particularly for your work on the COVID crisis. And likewise, Corporation Council for sort of facilitating this entire process, and Jerida as well. So when I first ran for the town council in 2015, I ran on a platform that the town's budgetary trends were unsustainable. And about a year and a half ago, it might have been a little bit more, we had a bipartisan agreement that the budget trends were in fact unsustainable. And specifically at that time, we had a finance and budget meeting where we discussed the potential for a fiscal stability plan. The meeting centered around our budget trajectory, and during the meeting, the word unsustainable was used to describe the town's budget growth, and not just by me. Indeed, the outlook was so concerning that means to address it included options rarely, if ever, discussed: pension obligation bonds, selling off town properties, and consolidating town services such as our libraries. And then now we fast forward to today. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. Tens of millions of Americans are unemployed, and the adverse economic impact has sadly been felt right here at home in West Hartford. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that nearly every resident household that we know of has experienced a pay cut, a furloughing, or a layoff. And many of our businesses have been unable to open for weeks. The bills keep stacking up for them without revenue coming in. And it's great we are starting to open up, but the damage is going to be long-term for those businesses. It's going to take them a long time to recover. Yet despite this grim economic environment and an acknowledgement that the town's budget trends were unsustainable even before the pandemic, to me, this budget continues down the same road. The budget is not flat. It raises the budget by nearly $4 million. There were, in my view, opportunities for further savings and reduction, but unfortunately, we have not made those decisions that, in my view, are necessary to protect our town's economic stability moving forward. First, this budget contemplates millions and millions of dollars in pay raises. I would like to acknowledge that the town manager and his administrative team, they're taking a pay freeze, and I appreciate that. Nevertheless, the undertaking was not followed throughout our budget. Indeed, the Board of Education budget alone includes $3.4 million in pay increases. In my opinion, pay increases in this environment should not happen. Based upon my calculations, if the budget didn't provide for any pay increases, we would then have a flat budget. Second, I still have tremendous concerns about a fire department's transition to primarily a provider of paramedic services. My concerns are no secret to anyone on this council, as I've articulated my reasons many times over the years, but at the end of the day, the providing of paramedic service has been a constant cost driver for the town's budget. Last year, the department had 183 fire-related calls, down from 228 in 2015, a trend that has really gone on for many years for our department. Medical calls last year, however, totaled 7,101. Indeed, 71% of the fire department's calls are responding to medical calls. The numbers tell where the focus of the department is and where the costs will lie. And to that end, in this budget alone, the department's budget is jumping approximately 8% in 1 year. This increase includes costs for EMS training, costs related to EMS billing, EMS equipment, associated overtime, etc. The size and cost of the department has increased since the inception of the paramedic services program, and with the administration's eye on providing transport services in the near future, its expansion and costs will continue to go up in the years to come. And finally, I think we need to take a more serious look at building consolidation. It's a very tough issue that no one really wants to talk about because our community loves each and every facility, and they should. That said, many of our buildings are older and require investment to maintain. This includes our schools, which we are maintaining despite aging infrastructure and declining enrollment. Total enrollment went down from 9,435 in 2016 to a projected 8,414 in 2025. That's 11% reduction in just 9 years. At the beginning of this process, I was hopeful that in a pandemic we would be able to have a budget that was truly flat. I believe strongly it has been acknowledged in our meetings leading up to tonight that the budget years ahead are going to be extremely challenging. The state is broke, it's out of money, and I suspect that, well, the pandemic made that much worse, and that West Hartford will not be able to rely on it for funds in the out years as it has in recent years. And at that point in time, the town will be left to make draconian measures all at once to make up the difference. And we could have helped start the process of reshaping our budget to a more sustainable form with this budget cycle, but I feel like we didn't do that, and we have ceded some of our discretion in the years to come and made the town increasingly subject to factors outside of our control, like state funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and thank you for your input and your perspective. I value your service very, very much. You are an honest and I'm a hard public servant. Work hard as a public servant. Next up is Ms. Kerrigan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It seems like a lifetime ago that us councilors sat with you, Madam Mayor, next to each other, not fearing